Good afternoon. This is Attorney Don Green in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we are at Rigel Studios located in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today is part of a continuing series of meeting judges and judicial candidates in the upcoming primary election and the election in November. And as I've been telling all of my constituents, all of the people at the gun shows, people who see me on the street and recognize me, I tell them that this is one of the most important elections in my 43 years of being an attorney and knowing judges. So I'm pleased today to announce that we have a special guest today, and that is Judge Matt Walker, the current judge in Department 1 of the Las Vegas Municipal Court. And how are you, Judge?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Don.
We'll talk about a lot of your family life and stuff a little bit later.
Sure.
But give the audience a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into some specifics.
Yeah, of course. So I was a prosecutor for 17 years before I was appointed on the bench.
Where were you a prosecutor?
In Las Vegas Municipal Court. So that was my first job out of law school. Started as a prosecutor right after passing the bar, and just fell in love with it. It's been a fantastic journey, and I mean I really love Muni Court and the things we do there. 17
years is a long time, but in that time, I take it that you amassed a lot of experience and seeing defense attorneys, defendants, and you're defending the city of Las Vegas and prosecuting cases in the name of the city. And do you believe that your experience is one of the most important points that the voters should look at in making an intelligent decision about your candidacy?
Oh, absolutely. I think experience is critical to being successful as a municipal court judge. We're a very high volume court. We handle 50 to 150 cases per courtroom. We've got 6 courtrooms altogether on a daily basis.
Thank you.
With that high volume, if you don't have the experience, if you don't know the issues that municipal court faces, the legal issues, the procedural issues, then everything falls apart.
Thank you. May we have the first slide? Now let's get specific. You have what only can be considered as unparalleled, the only candidate for Las Vegas Municipal Court Department 1 who has this type of experience, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Again, tell us about how you believe that your experience as a prosecutor translates into why you should be reelected as a judicial candidate.
Well, like we touched on already, I've spent almost my entire career in Las Vegas Municipal Court. So
what type of cases?
So we handle misdemeanors, all the misdemeanors that happen in the city of Las Vegas. And I know we'll get to that sort of jurisdictional issues, I think, a little bit later here. But it's a wide variety of things. We handle everything from, minor traffic offenses all the way up to vehicular manslaughter. We have DUI cases, domestic violence cases, drug-related cases, trespassing. We have a huge scope of things that come through our courtroom every day. And again, it's the high volume really can't be uncounted for. It is the sort of thing that took a long time to build the experience to be able to make decisions that are done quickly, efficiently, but legally correct. When I was a prosecutor, like you said, the idea is that I was an advocate for the city of Las Vegas, and to be able to make a decision quickly with that kind of volume takes a certain level. It takes a skill set and ability to parse through evidence quickly, to evaluate the credibility of witnesses that come for trial.
You mentioned vehicular manslaughter. In Nevada, we have a misdemeanor vehicular manslaughter.
Correct. Yes.
And tell me, does the person get a jury trial for vehicular manslaughter?
Surprisingly, they do not. The only type of charge that is eligible for a jury trial in municipal court is battery domestic violence.
And that came out a few years ago in a Supreme Court decision, a Nevada Supreme Court decision. Is that correct?
That's correct. And there was subsequent legislation to lay out the standards or the protocols rather for how those are handled.
So in a vehicular manslaughter case, just as an example, would you have experts testify, or just the police officer and the defendant, his wife, or whatever?
It depends on the circumstances. Experts are often involved in these types of cases because the stakes are high. There are often other potential civil ramifications depending on the outcomes. The last vehicular manslaughter case that I dealt with when I was a prosecutor. We actually brought an OSHA expert in to do subsequent evaluation of the evidence. He and I actually evaluated the evidence on the scene where it had been impounded, went through additional calculations. These things can get very complicated, and it's important to make sure that you're doing the job right, because at the end of the day, someone died.
Again, this experience, this unparalleled experience which you have, do you believe that this experience separates or separates you from your opponents?
Oh, absolutely. Again, municipal court is a very specific jurisdiction. We have issues that arise that are exclusive to municipal court. We have issues that arise that are procedural, that are only handled in a certain way in municipal court. There are esoterics that have to be addressed in order to keep the courtrooms running efficiently, in order to keep them running equitably. And because of my time in municipal court, I know things in and out. I know the staff, I know the processes. I've put on dozens and dozens of trials in the municipal court space. So in the misdemeanor space, I evaluated hundreds and hundreds of witnesses' credibility, and evaluated tens of thousands of cases in my time as a prosecutor.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Now, would you agree that trust of a judicial officer is an important factor for the voting public?
100%. I'll tell you, there's a quote that I picked up along the way that I think I try to bring to the bench every time I take it, which is, as a public servant, anytime you interact with the public, you are either increasing public trust in the government or you're decreasing public trust in the government, depending on how that interaction goes. And I think it's incredibly important as judges to keep that in mind. Everyone that comes in front of us needs to be treated with respect, with dignity, and treated as an individual. And that's, I think, something that can be missing from judicial interactions sometimes.
And this trust at all levels, does that translate into the legal community of attorneys?
Absolutely.
And recently, well, within the past 6 months, was there the annual review journal, what would you call it, a judicial ratings?
The Review Journal did do their performance review. They do an evaluation. Who submits material for the evaluation? So the Review Journal will submit a survey to the legal community at large. That survey will request not only their thumbs up, thumbs down approval, but also solicits comments and inputs from the legal community. And I got to say, I was incredibly humbled and frankly a little surprised at my rating.
Let me ask you this about your rating. What was your rating?
I was 94%. So it was the highest approval rating of any municipal court judge in the Valley. I was actually tied for 6th overall among all the judges in the Valley that were included in the survey.
And we have other municipal courts in Clark County, correct?
Absolutely.
We have Henderson.
Correct, yep.
Boulder City.
Yep.
Now, what about the outlying areas like Laughlin and Logandale? Do they have municipal courts, or is all one court?
They all have municipal courts. I don't believe the outlying communities were included in the survey.
All right. So right now you believe that trust is important.
100%.
Trust from the prosecution.
Absolutely.
Trust from the defense community. Trust from the public at large.
Absolutely. And again, I think to me, that's what's most telling when it comes to my credentials, is this survey was to the community at large. So not just prosecutors, not just defense attorneys, but everyone had a chance to weigh in on the job that they think the judges are doing.
Next slide, please. We have a slide for the viewing and listening audience. What is your main focus as a judge in Las Vegas Municipal Court Department 1?
Well, I think what's critical as a judge, especially in municipal court with our high volume of cases, is making sure the community's safe. Anytime someone comes in front of me that appears in custody, I have to make a determination of what is going to be most likely to decrease danger to those members of the community, including the person that's appearing in front of me. Don't get me wrong, but ultimately, we are there in the criminal justice system to make sure the community is a safe place, a comfortable place, a happy place to live. And so it's critical to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect the community.
Give us an example of how on the bench, 7:30 in the morning, and you've got video court, and a guy has beat up his children, he's beat up the wife, but he's been in the union 25 years. He's a elder in the church. He's got all these factors. At that moment, when he's in custody on video,
Sure.
you have to make an on-the-spot decision. How is it that you believe that your experience as a lawyer, coupled with your experience as a judge, how do you factor that type of case? For example.
Of course. The biggest thing, again, and I kind of touched on this earlier, is to remember each case comes to you on its own individual merits. Each person needs to be evaluated not based on the attitude of the person that appeared in front of them or the experience that someone that they make you think of. They need to be taken as an individual. And those factors, community ties, are something I can take into account, but the allegations are the first thing we consider. How serious are the allegations that are appearing in front of us? Criminal history is a huge factor. Is this something is this repeat behavior, or is this what appears to be repeat behavior? We actually have a pretrial risk assessment tool that the Supreme Court established that gives us some guidance. They deal with those types of things, and we have to take all that into account. One of the factors that is huge we see in municipal court is substance use. So if someone comes in front of us in a situation like that where violence is involved, one of the big critical questions is, were substances an issue? If they were, do they need orders to refrain from the use of substances? Do they need some kind of a monitor? Do they need some kind of an order that if they bail out, they have to refrain from the use of those substances? Those are all things we have to decide in the moment.
And this just exactly, that's my next question. So when they're on video, you've got 6 or 7 guys, and you got guys in the waiting room.
Sure.
And you got an 8:15 calendar, 8:30 calendar. There's attorneys are walking in while you are on video court, and would you consider that there's a pressure to get these cases on video resolved in the best possible manner?
I think there's always a pressure with municipal court. Like I said, we handle such a high volume of cases. We have to keep things moving. We have to keep an orderly court. People are coming in, like you said, we have an 8:15 calendar, we have an 8:30 calendar, we have a 9:30 calendar. We have defendants coming in, we have witnesses coming in to testify, we're pulling law enforcement off the street to come in for trial, and we need to juggle everyone's calendars, make sure we're being respectful of everyone's time, but make sure that we get the work done. And so we have to go very quickly, but we also have to be thorough. We have to be legally correct in our decisions. And
That leads us to the next question. You're making a decision. The example of the man who beat up his wife and his kids.
Sure.
The guy, he's 20 years with the union. He's an elder in his church. When he comes before you, do you have to give him equal and exact justice on the issue of bail at that moment or retention?
Oh, of course. Everyone needs to be handled impartially. And so everyone needs to be handled equally. I have to look at those factors for him. I have to look at those factors for the next guy I see and the next girl I see. Everyone that appears in front of me, I've got to look at community ties. I've got to look at dangerousness to the community. I've got to look at criminal history. All those things I have to be given an individualized assessment before I make a decision of whether or not they're going to stay in custody.
That is part of your duty as a municipal court judge, correct?
100%.
And you take that, I take it that you take that duty seriously.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, it's an incredible privilege to be a judge. Our impact, again, municipal court, high volume, our impact on the community our footprint is so large that we have a duty to make sure that we're making the right decisions, that we're doing what we're supposed to do, that we're following the law, and being respectful of being in the position that we're in, because it is a very impactful position.
So your experience as a prosecutor, your current experience as a sitting judge, and what you're required to do in certain circumstances, is this a job for on-the-job training?
Oh, absolutely not. This is the sort of thing where, like I said, the decorum of the court, the orderliness of the court, the effectiveness of the court are all going to be affected if someone is on the bench that doesn't have the experience, that is not able to process things quickly, and is not able to, I'll kind of weigh in on this, is not able to have the right temperament. Patience is indispensable when it comes to getting these things done quickly and appropriately. Again, everyone that comes in front of me needs to be handled with dignity and respect, but there's the need for decorum, there's the need for the orderly proceeding of the court. So if someone comes in and they're heated, someone comes in and they're scared, the first thing we need to do is set the right tone. Establish for them that there's a process. We're going to follow the process. Establish for them that these are steps that everyone has to follow. And most people respond to that well. Most people feel like they're getting a good shake. But if they're not, you have to have the right temperament to handle that. You have to be able to do it with nuance, with a way that's not going to cause things to spiral out of control.
And that temperament and your experience as a prosecutor, do you think that, and can we have the next slide, please? Do you think that factored in your approval by the City of Las Vegas Council, which by statute and city ordinance is allowed to appoint judges?
I absolutely think my experience and my reputation in the legal community made a huge difference in the council's determination that I was the best fit for the job. There was a competitive appointment process when the position came open. Our then Chief Judge, Cynthia Leung, she retired. There was still time left on her term. City Council chose to do an appointment. There were 14 applicants. Of the 14, 11 of us met the baseline criteria. And the first thing they did was they set up a committee of legal experts in the legal community, rather, that knew the candidates, that knew their standing in the community, that knew the right questions to ask, that had practiced in Las Vegas Municipal Court, or had judicial experience, or had law enforcement experience. All these folks brought that experience to bear, brought that perspective to bear when they evaluated us, when they conducted their interviews.
So this was a very thorough screening process, and not just any little guy who's been practicing 5 years wants to be a judge. They really got into specifics of your background and your experience, correct?
Absolutely.
And of the 14, you came out on top.
Yep. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Like I said, 11 of us met baseline criteria. We went through not only the round of interviews from the committee that was hand selected by the city council. We also they winnowed us down to a set of 3 finalists. Each of the 3 of us were interviewed directly by city council once they had the input of their committee, so that they could get an assessment of our temperament, so they could get an assessment of our experience, so they could get an assessment of our ability to do the job.
And was Judge Shelley Berkeley on the committee with the city council?
Mayor Berkeley was part of the voting. She was also would have been privy to the findings of the committee that did the initial rounds of interviews.
And Mayor Berkeley is a lawyer herself.
True.
Could she have vetoed the vote?
Well, it had to be a majority vote.
But you got a majority vote.
I did, yes.
And you're now a sitting judge.
Correct, yep.
Question. Christmas Eve.
Okay.
The family is over. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. You're helping out in the kitchen. Everybody's happy. The phone rings. Your brother or your brother-in-law answers it. Judge, there's a policeman on the phone. What do you do when you've got that turkey or ham in your hands? What do you do?
Well, let me give a little context for the viewers. So as municipal judges, one of the things that we do is we review search warrants for DUI arrests. And DUI arrests can happen at any time of day. They can happen 24 hours a day. They can happen on holidays. They can happen on Thanksgiving. And we have a rotation, so each of the judges takes a turn, whether with the search warrant duty. But when it's your time with search warrant duty, it's your time with search warrant duty. It doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m. Doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the night's finals game. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of Thanksgiving and you're pulling the turkey out. When you get a request for search warrant, we have to stop. We have to listen to the facts. We have to review the facts. We have to make a determination if there's probable cause or not to issue a warrant. And again, it's critically important. Issuing a warrant in those cases requires someone to submit to their blood being drawn. And so it's incredibly important to do that correctly, appropriately, but also do it quickly, because law enforcement has to get their job done. But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I have to take that call when I'm on duty.
When you take that call and you're listening to the police officer or the detective, and they're telling you about why they need the blood draw, and your mind is assimilating a number of facts, thinking about the law, am I going too far? Is this a clear case? You have to balance all that in what time frame? Minutes? Moments?
As quickly as possible. I mean, I've got a chance to review the facts. But
How long?
Minutes, typically. If it's a less clear case or a more complicated case, I can take more time if I need to. But like I said, when law enforcement's out there conducting their investigation, they are on a clock. As a judge, I'm aware that they are on a clock, and I need to make a decision. I have to make the right decision, but I have to make it as quickly as possible.
And this decision which you are making, again, based on your experience as a prosecutor,
Sure.
based on your experience as a judge, and based on your common sense, correct?
Absolutely.
So this decision making, whether it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or 30 minutes, everything you know has to be assimilated and presented in that, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
So that you're telling the viewing audience, again, is this a job for on-the-job training?
No, and again, with our volume, with the type of things we have to do, the speed at which we have to do them, and the importance of the decisions we're making, you've got to have a very firm grasp of the legal issues. You got to have a very firm grasp of how those facts need to be applied.
Let's go to the next slide, please. Now, part of your campaign, part of your persona, and I've known you many years. We've only had a few cases against each other, but you've always been a perfect gentleman to me, regardless of how bad my client's case is. Tell us about why you believe that, how you can present something within the jurisdiction of the municipal court. Why do you put this as forward thinking?
Well, as a prosecutor, one of the things that I saw that was really important was when people come in front of the judge, when people come in front of the court, and they are willing to take responsibility, they are willing to get help, and they are willing to be rehabilitated, we need to make sure, we as judges, we as municipal court government employees, we need to make sure that we give them the opportunity to do that, including oversight, including accountability. Now, one of the things I do since I've been on the bench is I oversee our Veterans Treatment Court. Veterans Treatment Court it's a fantastic program. It is, and I'll just say frankly, it's the best part of my week. Just to get
define what the Veterans Treatment Court is for the average veteran defendant.
Yeah, absolutely. So our Veterans Treatment Court it's a sobriety-based program. It's for defendants that come in front of us that have service history, that have substance use or mental health problems that are a result of that service history. It's a year to 18-month long program. Like I said, we get people into the program and we do an individualized assessment to evaluate what sort of services they need. If they need housing placement, if they need job placement, if they need counseling and treatment, those are really the primary things that we help them address. Assuming they remain stable, they get through the program and they maintain sobriety, at the end of the time frame, they graduate and they move on to a new chapter in their life.
What happens to the conviction if they successfully pass the Veterans Treatment Program?
If they successfully pass, the case gets dismissed ultimately.
So that's Nevada's gift to veterans.
And that's a statutory directive. Like you said, so the legislature adopted that. Now, when it comes to more serious crimes, even though the cases are dismissed, those more serious crimes can still be used for enhancement purposes.
Understood.
But it's still, for criminal history purposes, those cases are getting dismissed. So there is a big benefit. And I think it's important to point out that this is a voluntary program. So anyone that comes in front of us that's interested, that qualifies, has to agree to comply with the programs, has to agree that they are ready for the change in their life.
Now tell us about this new innovation which you have proposed within the past 6 months. I don't exactly. Tell the viewing audience what this innovation is and how it helps make the community safer.
Absolutely. So I think we all know that traffic has really, really been a big issue. It's been in the news. I know Las Vegas Metro has taken a big stance on just how bad the driving is out there. City Council just announced that they're looking at different ways to try and curb the difficulties that everyone's facing, the dangers that we're facing on the road. One of the things that I'm implementing in my court is the use of an intelligent speed assist device. What this thing does is it's placed on a vehicle and it limits a driver's ability to speed. The vehicle cannot go above the posted speed limit. Now, this certainly isn't something that I feel is appropriate for everyone. This is really only for the worst of the worst. People that have very serious allegations when it comes to reckless driving or a history of just driving in a way that puts everyone in danger. Driving 30, 40 miles over the speed limit multiple times. These are people that have demonstrated they are not going to change their behavior without court intervention. The idea with this device, again, is to try and curb these things in a way that is going to be effective. Things that in a way that is going to change behavior, so that when they finish their case, when the device comes off, that they continue to drive in a way that is safer than they were before.
And what judge in the Las Vegas Municipal Court has proposed this speeding program?
I will say we're the first court in the valley that I'm aware of.
What judge, though?
Me.
Thank you. So it's very important that not only are you came into and how long have you been appointed?
I was appointed in February of 25.
So not only have you been appointed to this position, but in the year and a half that you've been a judge, you're already talking about specialty courts and as for the speeding court as part of court innovation, correct?
Absolutely.
Rather than addressing public safety. And what would you consider to be your most important role as a judicial officer?
Well, the thing that every judge has to do is follow the law. We have to apply the facts that are presented to us to the law and follow it without any sort of outside influence, either internal or external. We follow what is written. I think the next most important thing, the biggest, and we've talked about this kind of already, is public safety, making sure we're doing what we need to do to make the community safe, and to make sure that everyone that is involved in the community, everyone that comes into the community or the criminal justice system, makes the progress that they need to make, has the consequences that they need to have, so they don't come back.
Okay. One of your best friends is a lawyer, and he brings in an elder in a church who hit multiple cars and was stinking drunk. He bailed out, and you've got a room full of defendants who've also got, speeding problems or whatever. How do you treat that defendant whose lawyer you've known since you were a boy? Just to give you an example.
Sure.
Will you be impartial, or will you say, this may destroy my friendship?
Absolutely have to remain impartial. Absolutely have to take, and I think this has kind of been a theme today, but each case on its own merits. And we have judicial canons that mandate, if we can't remain impartial, that we make sure the parties know, and we make sure a judge that can handles the case. But in that circumstance, it's my job to make sure the community is safe, regardless of who's appearing in front of me. I was just going to say, if it's not someone that I have a personal connection with, then it's a lot easier decision. Yes. But even if it is, it's still my job to make sure that I'm treating everyone the same, to make sure that I'm treating everyone equally. And that's what I would do in that case.
And did you treat everyone equally when you were a prosecutor?
Absolutely.
And I guess that's part of the importance of judicial temperament.
It's incredibly important to be able to handle everybody, again, on their own merits, handle everybody with respect. And one of the things I tried to do as a prosecutor was come up with solutions to cases that were mutually beneficial for everyone. As I had to be an advocate for the city, I had to make sure that justice was being done, and part of that was handling cases efficiently, making sure that if a case needed to go to trial, that I didn't have a problem putting it on, that I gave the victim a chance to speak in court, a chance to have the voice. But if a case didn't have to go to trial, if we could find a resolution that was beneficial to the city, that was satisfactory to those consequences that I talked about, that we get that negotiation done, we get the case handled, and we make room for the next case behind it.
And that protects the city because you have the experience as a prosecutor and as a judicial officer. And again, this is not a job for on-the-job training.
Of course.
Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. Now, we talked about the growth of innovative programs such as the Veterans Court and the Speeding Court. Is that all that's ever going to be in the future, or you foresee growth in the courts within the jurisdiction of the municipal court? Do you see more courts or possible more specialty courts being developed?
Well, I definitely think we want to address all the things that come in front of us. And when I say all the things, I mean all the causes of criminality, all the reasons that people end up in our court to begin with. Some of those things are substance related. And as we expand, I'll say, I didn't have a really big hand in this, but we've just expanded our court to include a community court, which is aimed at addressing homeless issues. When I was a prosecutor, one of the things I saw were defendants that had, repeat defendants typically, that had mental health issues that weren't being addressed. I started a program called our Psychiatric Stabilization and Treatment Program. We had around 500 individual defendants come through the program in the time I was overseeing it, and we had a 40% recidivism rate. So I was very, very happy with that as an option. And because municipal court is forward-thinking that way, I was given the space to develop that program. With this speed device, I'm hoping to demonstrate that it is successful. I'm hoping to demonstrate that it's the sort of thing that's going to change behavior. And I would love the chance to expand it into a full-fledged program and handle more pressing traffic issues. Because I'll tell you, traffic cases are, while we have a wide variety of serious cases, traffic cases are our highest volume type of charge.
Yes. Thank you very much. May we have the next slide? So, are there limits on your power to adjudicate as a municipal court judge, and what are those limits?
Like I said, we only handle misdemeanors, and so we can't sentence anyone to more than 6 months in jail, more than a $1,000 fine. Obviously, we are limited in the types of cases that we can handle. Ultimately, as the judge, my obligation is to make a determination of whether someone is guilty or not guilty, and if they are guilty, make a determination as to what the appropriate sentencing is. That's really those are my duties, but that's also the limit of what I can do. When it comes to the sentencing, the other aspect is enforcing that sentencing. There's a little bit more discretion there. As a judge, I have the authority to take measures to make sure that people are following through with their obligations.
So, your brother-in-law comes over and you're watching the nice game for the Stanley Cup Finals, and he's got a ticket and he hands it to you. Can you take care of it?
I cannot.
Why?
Again, we've got to treat everybody equally. I can't handle a brother-in-law ticket any more than I can handle the clerk at the 7-Eleven or the person that just walks up to me on the street.
So those days are over.
Yeah, they are.
Those are okay. May we have the next slide, please? Okay, we talked about specialty courts in the system in the Las Vegas Municipal Court. The viewing audience can see this slide and pause it.
I will jump in real quick,
Please,
Don.
please.
One of the things I wanted to highlight is the Veterans Treatment Court has been around a long time, since 2014. It was a very well-oiled machine when it was assigned to me, when I took the bench. But I did look for ways to expand it. One of the things we've done is we've separated our cohorts out, so we have both female and male participants. We're able to split them into 2 different sessions so that everyone has a certain comfort level. The other thing that we're able to do is add a mentorship component. I'm very, very excited about that. That's something that the National Drug Court Conference recommends as a best practices, is to have someone that is a peer, that has some similar experiences or shared experiences, that is court adjacent but doesn't necessarily work directly for the court, so that our participants have someone that they maybe feel a little more comfortable with, or someone that they can feel a little more open with to discuss the issues that are ongoing. And again, we adopted that since I took over the program, and we're currently in the process of expanding. We've added a couple mentors to those that we initially brought on board, and we've had a lot of success with Veterans Court. I've had more than I think we've had around 35 participants graduate just in the year and a half that I've been on the bench.
Impressive. Now, in your courtroom, where the bar is there a little placard that says, if you're a veteran, let the judge know? Or do you ask that question?
So what I typically do when it comes to referrals is those will come from the attorneys. Either the
Yes.
prosecutor or the defense attorney will bring it to the court's
So
attention.
perhaps at an initial arraignment,
Yep.
but the attorney has to have the case pulled from the afternoon calendar to the morning calendar and make things more efficient.
Sure.
He says, Your Honor, my client is a veteran.
Yeah, or even in the other courts, like I mentioned, we've got 6 courts altogether. If someone appears in front of a different judge, but they would meet the criteria, then we will pull that case. They'll appear in front of me, and we'll assess them to see if they're going to be a fit.
So not only do you have your duties in Municipal Court 1 for your DUIs, your battery, domestic violence, now you also have your Veterans Court.
Absolutely, yes.
And do you believe that you have balanced your personal life, your two roles as a judge? Do you believe that you balance that?
I do, and it does take a little bit of work to make sure that that you're putting the right energy, you're putting the right emphasis on all the different aspects of your life. But I feel like and my fiance and my kids have been very understanding, and in terms of my transition from prosecutor to judge, and the things I had to learn, and the scheduling, the calendaring, the juggling that had to happen. But I feel like that's kind of par for the course. I've talked about the abilities that I developed as a prosecutor to handle this type of caseload. Those are transferable skills, and I've been able to carry them over to personal life as well.
Let's go to the next slide. Nevada has several court systems. Tell the viewing audience the structure of Nevada courts, from the municipal court to the Nevada Supreme Court.
Sure. I've talked a little bit about municipal court, but typically what all of our municipal courts handle are violations of city ordinances. We also handle violations of NRS, assuming there's the appropriate authorizing ordinance in that municipal court. We have that as part of our city ordinance, City of Las Vegas. The more serious cases, your gross misdemeanors, your felonies, they start out in justice court. Those are county courts that oversee those cases. Ultimately, if cases proceed on, the next step is going to be the district court. Beyond the district court, we have our Nevada Court of Appeals, which is a relatively new court. Was established, and Don, you might know better than I do.
5 or 6 years, I can't remember. It seems like it's been there forever.
And they have been handling. They really hit the ground running when they established
Yes,
that court.
they
They
did.
handle a huge volume of cases.
Yes.
But then beyond that, the Court of Appeals then is the Nevada Supreme Court. They handle a lot of different types of appeals, both civil and criminal, on issues that are going to have statewide ramifications.
If someone is disenchanted with your decision, can that person file a notice of appeal?
Absolutely.
And which court system reviews the notice of appeal?
So convictions out of Las Vegas Municipal Court are appealed directly to the district courts. So the Clark County District Court is who handles our misdemeanor appeals.
Does the district court judge do the trial de novo?
They do not. So we're
Define de novo for our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So de novo means the trial starts over again. All the evidence that was presented, all the testimony that was presented are presented again to the judge at the appellate level, and the judge at the appellate level then makes an entirely new decision. We are what's called in municipal court, what's called a court of record. And so everything in municipal court is recorded, both video and audio, and that record is passed on to the district court. So the district court has a chance to review the recording. They have a chance to review a transcript of when it's prepared, but they take the decisions of fact. They give those deference when it comes to determining whether or not myself or a different municipal court judge made the right decision.
And suppose that decision you made is just left of whether it's right or wrong. Do you have that area of discretion where you could be wrong, but still within your discretion?
Well, it's going to be whether or not a district court decides to reverse my decision.
Let's say it's a rule of evidence.
Sure. It really kind of depends on the circumstances. Sometimes there can be what's called harmless error, which means maybe I make a mistake, but the ruling was correct. The district court can make that determination based on the record they have.
But they're looking at, again, like you said, with harmless error, you could be wrong, but still, on that issue, the conviction stands.
It's completely possible, yeah.
And those directives come from the Nevada Supreme Court and its precedents, correct?
Absolutely. That's what and I mentioned earlier, as judges, we have to apply the law, we have to apply the facts that we're given. The law is established both by the Nevada revised statutes, but also by precedent from the Nevada Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals.
Why is Judge Matt Walker the best candidate to represent the city of Las Vegas in Department 1? Why?
We touched on a lot of this, but I'll just hit it as really kind of 3 bullet points. 1, experience. The level of experience I have, the more than 18 years experience in municipal court, like you mentioned, is unparalleled. You have to have an understanding of that court system, those court processes, those legal issues in order to be able to make sure that your court is running effectively, efficiently, and correctly. Second, temperament. It's incredibly important to be able, just as a judge, to be patient, to understand nuance, and to be able to treat people in a way that is respectful, but also firm when appropriate. I've demonstrated that I have that temperament, both first as a prosecutor, now on the bench, and it's clear from the approval rating, I think, that the legal community at large appreciates my approach to making judicial determinations. Third, I think, is philosophy. Understanding as a judge that you are there to protect the community. You are there to make sure that due process is being served, that everyone that comes in front of you gets a fair shake, but that if they have done something wrong, that they be held accountable, while at the same time, if they are willing to accept responsibility, giving them the opportunity to turn their life around and show you that they want to accept responsibility.
So, Judge, again, we have to pound this into the ground. Is this a job for on-the-job training?
Absolutely not.
And you have the experience, the temperament, the foresight, and the looking forward. Do you believe these are critical points for the voting and viewing audience?
They're incredibly important, and these judicial races are always interesting, I think, for voters, and maybe a little bit challenging because they're not issue-based. They're not issue-based races. It's not a partisan race, and a lot of people don't have experience with the criminal justice system, and so they're not sure what is important. I think all the things that we've brought up today really kind of highlight what the courts do and what a judge needs to be able to do in order to make the courts work.
Thank you. Again, this has been a special broadcast for Judge Matt Walker, the current judge in Department 1 of the Las Vegas Municipal Court. You'll see his contact information on the bottom, either a phone number or a website. And again, this is Don Green presenting Judge Matt Walker, and we're signing off. Thank you. Thank you.